Welcome to day 11 of Rambling and Wrenching. Today I'm going to show you how and why I make my wild lucky pennies. I came up with the concept of the lucky penny years ago when I found myself traveling rough and poor pretty often as a way to be able to generate some honest money while I was on the road, maybe to get some meals, maybe to grab a little bit of gas. So think about somebody like, making like friendship bracelets and selling it in front of the gas station. And so as a result, it needed to be able to be made pretty easily and it needed to be able to have a minimal amount of tools. So all you really need to make a lucky penny is a flat-headed hammer. A machinist or mechanic's hammer works really great. In the shop, I would recommend just using a little sledgehammer. Works a lot better, just works a lot faster, I guess I should say. You're of course going to need some pennies, which the US just discontinued the penny. So those might be harder to find. But yeah, you just need a couple pennies. I do have a handful, and the reason I'm making this video is because I just sent out all of the wild pennies to Patreon supporters. So thank you so much, everybody over on Patreon. Your pennies are finally in the mail, and if you want to get your own wild penny that you're going to see made here in the video, you can go over to Patreon, and you can do that there. And then finally, the thing that you need is some stamps. Now, this one is literally, I just have wild right now out. I don't think it spells wild right now, but I just have the wild stamps out now. But you can get a really nice little cheap stamp kit from Harbor Freight for almost no money. You could also just like flatten the end of a nail and use that if you're really hard up. And then to be able to smash it, we're going to use an anvil. But on the road, you could also just use a railroad track rail. One thing I love about the lucky pennies is that every single one of them is going to be unique, because not only do you get different looking pennies like old ones and new ones, but also it's a handmade process. So the way that you pound the penny out is going to be different every time. The way that the letters set is going to be a little different every time. So every single one is going to be its own unique thing that kind of has your thumbprint on it. And to get started, it's just as simple as you would imagine. Throw the penny on the hard surface and pound it flat. I'll spare you the really loud sounds of flattening those pennies out. But when you're pounding, you want to make sure that you're hitting with pretty good force and that you're also hitting with the flat part of the hammer. Otherwise, you'll start to do weird indents, you'll blow out the sides and make really sharp edges, or you'll put cracks in them. And now I've done an old one and I've done a new one. And as you can see here, they both pound out very differently and create their own unique look. Once you have your penny flattened out, then you set your letters. When you're putting in your letters, you want to make sure you're paying attention, obviously, to orientation, and then you want to give them a pretty good tap in because you want that indentation to be nice and deep so that when we apply our Sharpie, it really gets into the letter indentation. And with our letters in, nice and deep, we'll go ahead and color it in with a Sharpie. Obviously you don't have to color the entire surface. You're just making sure that you're coloring right over the letters you just popped in and get the Sharpie really nice and deep. Now, this lucky penny idea was actually an original idea of my own. I actually have some old ones I can show you here that I have from just kind of years gone by for different events and different things that I've done them for. And I'm sure I'm not the only person to have come up with this idea. But I did come up with it on my own, and it came from kind of two sources. Now, obviously, I've been inspired in my life by stories of early hobos, specifically the men that were traveling around the country, riding the rails to find seasonal work in different places, because that's kind of what the word hobo means. It's not a homeless person, it's somebody who travels around for work. And I always thought that was really, really neat. And when I was old enough, I followed that, and I jumped trains, and I did some hitchhiking, and I kind of saw some of the country that way. And in the hobo culture, there's something called a hobo nickel. And the hobo nickel was something, as far as I understand, it was something that was an actual nickel that hobos would take like the end of a nail, or they'd get a little engraver, and they would make a different head out of the head in the nickel. They're really, really cool, and I always thought that was really neat. And then the other thing is my Papa D, my dad's dad, his freight yard and house was literally right next to train tracks. It was one of the older cousins or an uncle or somebody who told us that we could tape coins to the track and then the train would run them over and then you'd have a flat coin. And I thought that was really cool. I think we did it like one time. And somehow those two ideas came together in my brain when I was thinking up ways of how I could try to make an honest buck while I was on the road, and that's where the lucky penny idea came in. So now that we've let that marker sit for a while, we're going to wipe it off with some rubbing alcohol, and hopefully we'll have some words on the penny. A little bit of rubbing alcohol on our rag, and then we. we wipe off the face here. All right. The W could probably be a little bit stronger here. And this is something that I look for when I'm making these, is I try to make sure the letters are, it's definitely handmade, but I try to make sure that the letters are a little more even. But you can see right there that it is all colored in, and there you go. You got yourself a lucky penny. And obviously you can do that with, you know, whatever letters or whatever that you want. The wild is mine, but I thought that it would be kind of fun to share the process of how I make those happen. That's a little slice out of some of my experiences and what I think is kind of a cool little project that you can do almost anywhere with really minimal tools. And again, if you want to get yourself a wild penny made by myself, you can head over to Patreon. It supports the channel, it puts gas in my tank, and it puts a little bit of food in my stomach. The exact reason that I developed the Lucky Penny, 20 years ago. So I hope you guys dug it, and we'll see you tomorrow.